Welcoming you back to Crypto's Juiciest News. You and I are going to have a fantastic episode today because a lot of people said we were meant to be going to zero by now, but we aren't. I've got a lot of stuff coming your way, friends. Stablecoin, Supercycle, Richard Hart's new project. Why have I waited a day? Because I don't know. Is it a decoy? Is there more to it? We'll see. MrProve, Prove X, prove what? Prove that you are not the father. I've watched Maury many times. I could have kids out there I don't even know of either, friends. So I don't like this proving tech. We're going to go through the US government. Donald Pump. Some say Donald Dump. $2,000. Is he going to give us a check? Man, that'll be a good weekend. Bitcoin volatility, MicroStrategy sale of Buyable BTC. Our favorite country, Pakistan. And more ETF stuff. All of that coming your way and more. The Bitcoin monthly candle, it's still red. We're about 104, 105. We've had these 2 weeks down. Everyone's still waiting, right? What's going to be that next conclusion? This is the 6-month candle of BTC, friends. This is where it's getting a bit dicey because like we are actually the longest running cycle so far. And I'm going to admit something. I actually checked the 6-month charts for the Smelly Poop 500 and the NASDAQ. And yeah, we are actually on par with how long they've run for too. So I didn't like seeing that. But it is what it is, you know? If we finish the year with a red here, I guess it's okay. But, you know, it's crypto, man. Like, you know, when crypto, we don't stop and go sideways for a bit. We go sideways, and then we die. I hope we have another explosion up higher. ETH-BTC, 0.034. I really hope it's going to do that next chargy move up. I really do. It's funny, everybody still hates Ethereum. After all this time, they still hate it. And it's just because of the price. Let's have a look at the 4-hour price action candle. This is it, friends. This is very, very standard. Okay. We smash to the bottom, come back up. Is it over? And then we reclaim higher. But remember, I'm not taking off my shirt until I see Bitcoin above 118. Because he can do anything in this point. See, you got a level here. You got a level here. He can screw around. He can even fake you out, come back down. He could just fake you out straight away. It can come up, make you think it's really good, and then come back down. I've seen every single type of pattern. You can't, no. I'm not taking off my knickers until 118,000. If Bitcoin is actually 118,000, you know all those soy boy bears who are short, for every 10 of them, if Bitcoin actually closes, say a week, 118,000, you'll see like the first, say out of 10 of them, 1 or 2 of them, they'll make their apology videos and they'll say, I am now taking my loss. I'm wrong. I had my idea. This is it, you know, about 1 or 2. And what happens to the other 8? They just let it go until they get liquidated. That's what happens. That's what most people do, right? It's kind of like those guys, they're with a girl, she doesn't really love him. So how does it end? Does the guy walk away? No. How's it end, friends? You know, she either just gets really bored and fed up, she makes an excuse, right? She invites the plumber over, or she just finds a way for things to break up. That's literally it. That's why trading is very tough. It's very tough. Ethereum is still holding its monthly wedge, which is nice to see. Do you remember, friends? I tried to make myself a bottom signal. I think I was. Do you remember in my frustration, I just deleted all the triangles. I go, you know what? Screw you. Screw you freaking triangles. Screw T8. But it's actually holding right now. Now, friendly reminder as well. Look, man, I know we've been running a long time, friends. I know. And I know that everyone's pacing their weekly charts and weekly RSI. Man, just go suck a fat one. This whole industry is not worth 3.5 trillion, bro. How is this whole industry worth 3.5 trillion? Look at this. Look at these Ponzi's. Stocks, 150. Gold, 30. Bonds, 200. Oil, 2 trillion. Cash, Literally just cash paper sitting there. 90 trillion. Property, 200 trillion. And you might say, oh, but Sammy, yeah, but property, you have a roof, you can live in a house, you can take a poop in the dunny. But can you move it? Can you take it across the country? If the government wants to tax you, can you do anything? No. They know where you live. Exactly. Property, friends. Property is great. You can live in your house, etc. If you put dunnies in multiple places of your home. Okay. With property, though, as the debt goes higher for each government, they are going to tax the closest thing they can take. It's your house. Your taxes on the house. It's the first thing they're going to grab. Now, no one believes it right now. Why? Because most countries are running a high immigration policy. Okay? You're like, oh no, our GDP is going down. Bring in 400,000 more Indian dudes, cram them somewhere. They're all working 7-Eleven jobs. And it works. But when there's a global slowdown and the jobs get tight, you can't do that anymore. All right? So right now it's working. Now, there's two types of obviously thinking for this. There's the black pill approach where everyone says, oh, everything's bad. Nothing's ever going to get bad. Those people on one side. You and we are on the optimistic side. Okay, we have AI coming. AI is here. They have AI agents. AI agents, they're just humans, but you can bitch slap them. They don't complain. All right, they do productive human work. They don't sleep. They don't need toilet breaks. They don't have any rights. Okay, they just work 24/7. So that is the new age of what's coming. The problem is the timing. We just don't know how long it's going to take before we start actually getting them out. That's why we're all relying on Matt to bring those Chinese sex robots, can do the flying kick and do all these other stuff. We just don't know how long it's going to take. That's why everything is like uncertain, right? Just takes time. But for crypto to be 3.5 trillion when all of these things are up here, that's a joke. It's a complete joke. Friends, the US Secretary Scott Bessent literally said, we've got 350 billion stable coins in the whole industry. They're going to add 2 trillion. All right. So it's de facto CBDC. Yeah. And if you've been, obviously, friends, you've been switched on. What was the last big crisis we had? Zombie virus. Man-made from a lab. I can't speak too much about it, of course, because YouTube don't like it. But the next crisis is not going to be a zombie virus. Okay, they never repeat. They never repeat. It's something you never see coming. My guess is a cyber attack. Do you remember? Like a few years ago, they tested a few countries. They did cyber attacks. There's one in Australia. There's one in Spain. Yeah, they just shut everything down. And you couldn't do anything, right? What were they doing? You think it's random? You never heard anything about it again. They just want to see people's response. How long does it take? Do people freak the hell out? Okay, so the cyber attack. Then you might wonder, why would you do a cyber attack? Well, if you shut down all the banking system, remember, this is how governments work, friends. Problem, reaction, solution. They make the problem. They make the problem. They tell you how to react, and then they bring you the solution. So they have a problem. Oh no, there's a cyber attack. Some of the systems are down for the banking. And then they tell you how to react on TV. Panic, panic, panic. Everything's bad. Everything's bad. What to do? And then they bring in the solution. Okay, then a politician comes out and says, look, we have a solution. We have a technology. You install this wallet on your phone, right? Just like your passport, your vaccine passport, right? You come in here, sign up, and we'll give you like $500 spending money on it. Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to say no to that? Everyone's going to say yes to that. You sign up, you got one account, and then you're probably wondering, like, but what's the difference between that and the bank account? Look, this new app, whatever it's going to be, it's just going to be like a smart contract Ethereum address, right? Now they can micromanage how they distribute the money. Because right now, what's the problem, friends? When they hand out money, they disperse it everywhere, okay? But if you have a CBDC, they're not going to call it CBDC, but it's digital dollar. It's just crypto stuff. It's just the technology, right? So what they can do is they can basically specifically select who gets the money and how. For example, if you're under the age of 25, right, in your account, what they will say is they go, hey, this is your savings account, but because you're really young, we don't want you to save money. Your interest rate is only like 1%. Okay. If you're over 55, on your account, your interest rate is like 5%. Okay. See how they can micromanage people? And they go, oh, everybody on like, the East Coast of America in the hospitality industry, you get like a certain stimulus for this period. Okay. This is where it's all going. Now, this was always the plan. The thing is, because of the power of memes, all right, we made CBDC a very bad word. All right. But this is ultimately what's coming. Now, I know it's coming. And then obviously there's two camps again. Some people lose their mind. But I know it's eventually coming. The only thing, I only have one scary itsy bitsy thing about it. It is, how badly are they going to smash our markets down to cause fear? That's just all I'm concerned about, okay? Because look what they did to the zombie virus, right? Look what they did to the zombie virus. The zombie virus was like, you know what? Let's send you all to zero. Okay? So I pray to God they don't do that now, okay? I hope, they can just like scare the population and they don't need to send markets to zero. All right, that's pretty much it. That's what I'm thinking about. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to crank some music for us, play some pumpy music. Now, why do we even have this comment in the first place? Because, friends, in markets, okay, remember, Vanguard, who are the two richest people? 1, dead people. 2, people who've got their logins. Okay? Dead person, they can't worry about anything. They can't even read the news. They're dead. They've passed away. What about people who've got their login? They can react to the news, but they don't know how to act in the markets. So everything's fugazi. So if you are like kind of prepared for weird, wacky, totalitarian stuff, which is how we're all going to get controlled in the future, you're way more prepared than anyone else. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's the game. Okay, the game is just to last the longest. Now, I've got the OTHERS-btc chart here for you, friends. Remember, OTHERS-btc is the ratio of outside top 10 altcoins, their market cap to Bitcoin, and surprise, surprise, it's actually green. Wow. I mean, check it out, friends. Do you remember, friends, a lot of people are saying Bitcoin dominance is going higher and we're all going to get wrecked. But I go, look, the last time major loser Powell stopped quantitative tightening was actually here. And look what happened. All right. We got the first green monthly candle of OTHERS-btc, which means altcoins stronger than Bitcoin. And here it is repeating again. Wow. I mean, isn't this crazy? Okay. So with this OTHERS-btc, it does look, I'm not even going to use the word promising because we've been faked out 50,000 times. I mean, what a heartbreak this was, friends. Even Donald Trump gave us the first green OTHERS-btc candle, and then we had a freaking fake out in December. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red in a row. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe what we sat through. All right. Also something. Now, we'll just do it. This is pure astrology. All right. But it is interesting to know this, okay? From here, okay, it's pretty much this was August 2019. DeFi season peaked exactly 12 months later. All right. But from this point, that was the point by any altcoin. Literally anything. Okay. It was literally it. So if you think what we've just seen was, when the Chinese exchange cabal liquidated everyone, yeah, that was a go all in moment. But like, I'm not excited about that because we've been waiting 4 years and like every day we've felt like this is the go all in moment, It's just, I don't want to jinx anything, but it is interesting to know, right? And yeah, we did have DeFi season peak, retrace, and then alt season wave 1, and then this was a dog shit one, okay? So, yeah, but that's why, friends, I've known this. I don't know how to wrestle with it because we're like so late into a traditional 4-year cycle. To run 12 months from here puts us like, if you go check out here, to like October next year? My gosh. And then what if that's not over? There's only one guy in crypto who actually thinks that's going to happen. Arthur Gaze. Yeah. He thinks this cycle it's going to be this constant wave of stimulating and stopping, and Trump is going to run his whole term like that. And then he thinks when Trump's term's over, just run. Literally just run. It's all over. So it depends, fans. Say like we can say these guesses mean nothing. You know why, right? Because with crypto, okay, the time factor, remember, time's not linear with the price behavior in crypto. Like you can just say, oh, we're going like this. But what actually happens is because of the FOMO and the scarcity, you can start going, whoop, like that. That's what you can't control. All right. So that's something you always got to be aware of. Like, you know, like, you don't know, like, I know this sounds impossible. What if PMI skips? What if it goes to 50, then 53, then 57 within like 4 months? You know what I mean? And you're like, oh crap, we've gone like parabolic on the PMI. We have not grinded up, you know, so you just got to leave yourself open for that. And once again, friends, here's the PMI chart. This is it. This is literally your guiding force. You got to remember, friend, I know, just the PMI, right? There's 4 PMIs, yeah? There's the manufacturing global and the services global. So there's manufacturing and there's services for the international global, okay? And then there's just USA. USA services, USA manufacturing, okay? Now, we don't know why, but for some reason, the US manufacturing is the cleanest, pure read on the whole world economy and their sentiment. Okay? While it's there, so I don't know why. Okay, we could think about why, but it doesn't really matter. It is, for some reason, that's it, okay? And this has been in a black swan for 36 months. Okay, we've been grinding our wheels, all right? Now, what's it going to take for us to get up? Personally, it's just me, and I don't know anything. I think interest rates are too high. I think even if they cut rates from whatever they are, 3.5, even if they cut them to like 2, I don't think inflation would go up. I think people would feel relief and then they'd save money. And then after a bit of while, we'd start the PMI go up and then they can start getting stupid later on. That's what I think. All right. But what do I know, friends? You know, you got major loser Powell and you have their reputation. That's the whole narrative, right? Because remember, major loser Powell, friends. So in the US Fed, no one wants to be Arthur Burns. Arthur Burns was the US Fed right before Paul Volcker in the 70s. Inflation was 7%, but Arthur Burns kept the rates at 5%. And he didn't have the balls to raise the rates to like 9 or 10%. So he just left it at 5%. And then inflation got very, very, very bad. That's when Paul Volcker comes in and he put rates up to like 18% and he induced the recession with Ronald Reagan. But then you reset everything and then everything was good to go from that point. So that's why in the US, that's like a narrative of them. But so major loser Powell, no one wants to be Arthur Burns as like the weak US Fed who was too scared to like take on inflation, right? But you and I know what you and I feel. Go truck yourself. I want my alt season. I don't care about your reputation. So we'll see what happens, friends. You know, remember in May next year, major loser Powell's term ends. We are all expecting that Trump is going to elect a puppet. By the way, Trump elected major loser Powell. Do you know that? Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny. Major loser Powell, the guy who recommended him, Donald Trump said in a speech, it was last week, he goes, I don't talk to that guy anymore. It's kind of funny how it all works, you know what I mean? Now, let's check on with the news. Obviously, friends, the biggest news for PulseChain community, Richard Hart has announced a new sacrifice project. There's no sacrifice here. We're just using that word. It's either going to be called MrProve or PulseX, okay? Aimed at allowing the transfer of assets between peers and removing middleman transactions and exchanges, okay? So this tech will allow you to prove you did something, like you buy, sell, transfer, or whatever, all right? And it does not reveal your crypto balance or your address or your sensitive details. It's exactly like when you go to the store, friends, okay? 3 a.m., you go to the store, you buy orange juice, right? When you scan your card, yeah, the merchant can't see what's in your bank account. All right, it's just the exact same thing. It's using zero knowledge technology. I'm just I'm still waiting, friends. I don't know what it's going to be. There's a sacrifice because the friends, everyone's down. All right, everything's really, 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 really down. So I'll just share with you. It's very mixed thoughts with the whole community. Very mixed. You have our dear Corey Spaghetti Meatballs and other people. Literally, their first response is go truck yourself. Okay, everyone's down and now you want more money. Okay, there's that. And then there's other people who are just like, you know, always going to be excited for whatever. I don't know, friends. I don't have enough like technical know-how. Like, I'm just curious, right? What makes our one special? What's our differentiating factor? Can anyone else do it? I'm just curious, right? Like if we get it, can like the Uniswap website add it, and then no one needs to use ours? You know, what if Uniswap like incorporate it into their website? That's something I don't know. I don't know about these, right? Like how much edge can you get? That's what I generally don't know. Is it a psyop? I don't know. Is it to make people quit and rage? I have no idea. That's what I kind of think. Is this to kind of get people to just sell their bags more down here? I don't know. But also, friends, because I've made dozens of videos on this. Look, everyone knows, like, the most optimal thing to do was never participate in these. That was it. Just statistically, we all know this, right? The most optimal thing to do was just like literally walk away. And I can show you on the Hex chart. This is what happened, right? So Hex pumps up first to 5 cents. Here we have the PulseChain sacrifice, PLS. Okay. And then it actually runs up higher. And then you have the PulseX sacrifice. Okay. But obviously, as you know, they're done in euphoria, optimistic, bringing new people in. They were top signals. Okay. That's just something to think about as well. Also, part of the game theory is, friends, I could shut my mouth, you know, but I'm not an insider. You know, it's not like I'm like in the deep dark board or like the Hexaco head office or something. I'm just telling you now, okay? When it comes to sacrifices, there's no advantage for you and me. We're the suckers. Okay, now I have to use this language. Do you want me to lie? I'm not gonna lie, okay? Because the incentive is, if you have a pool of money, to grab every single FOMO missing retard's money, throw them into the pool, okay, all at once, at the same time, and you equalize everyone getting in early, and so you have no edge. All right, you have no edge. It's kind of like if Satoshi said, hey, I'm going to make world-changing finance technology. Everyone's allowed to mine Bitcoin for 5 years. Okay, totally. That means everybody who gets in for the first 5 years, they get the same price. Okay? Because that's exactly what happened in PulseChain and PulseX, right? Because the crypto friends, like if you're trying to join a city early, right? You can't really be early when like you have, you know, 5 million people joining with you, right? You're not early anymore. So I don't know how it's going to work. I have no idea. But even then, most of you are saying, yeah, but Somi, even if it was going to work, like with what money? I don't know. That's why I'm up in the air. I don't know. I guess the tech is cool. We do need it, privacy and stuff. But yeah, I'm genuinely curious. How easily copy pastable is it? Now, can other people take it? Can other bigger network? That's the hard part with crypto friends. It's not actually about your tech. Okay, it's about your community. It's about the number of people, right? Look what happened to Facebook, friends. Snapchat had the Reels. Remember the Snapchat Reels? You know, literally Mark Zuckerberg, he looked at it, he just stole it in 2 seconds. Now Facebook have it. You know, so, and Facebook's worth more. Facebook's worth trillions. Snapchat, that Jeff Spiegel dude, you just got to keep dumping his shares. You know what I mean? So tech's not enough. You need the network. You need big amount of people. But remember, there's no real one out here in terms of like, there's no sacrifice, or there's none of these, like, you know, nothing is like actually actionable now. It could also be that maybe Richard expects the top to be in the next 6 to 12 months, right? So, I mean, like, I want to show you this is actually very important, right? Like, if you look at, like, think about it from Richard's perspective, okay? He wants to raise the most amount of money. I'm just assuming, okay? Now, if you want to raise the most amount of money, and you go back and you look at the Hex chart, when was the most amount of money raised? It was in PulseX, right here, okay? All right. When did he say he was going to make a chain? Was it somewhere like here? February, March? I mean, check that out, friends. It's a long time, man. So, man, that's from like what? February, March 2021. And then he raises 1.1 billion here. That's wild. That's like 10 months. So that's another thing. So we don't have to jump the gun, right? He could have looked at, it goes, okay, Pulse, you raised 640 million. PulseX, you raised 1.1 billion. So he's like, okay, I want to emulate the PulseX one. So PulseX was like later and longer. So that could be it as well. That's why everyone's laughing and yelling. Not laughing, everyone's like upset now. But what if it's going to happen in 10 to 12 months? And I've got the chart here, right? What if it's like, yeah, literally like 300 days in 12 months, you know? So like, I know this doesn't look like it's possible, but like, what if it did do this, man? What if we were like literally up here? That could be it. And remember, friends, Richard as well, like you got to think, okay, if you're marketing, you want more time and more people to hear about it, okay? So that's another thing to think about. Also, remember, we are in a PMI 49 environment now. When PulseChain and PulseX were done, let's actually go check it out now. The PMI was totally different. Look at this. In June, if you go to June, July 2021, PMI was 60. If you go to December, it was 60. Damn. You know, remember, PMI, friends, just think about it like it's your actions of how confident you are in the future. All right. In a PMI 60 environment, you're like doing really well. Like you're really optimistic about the future. Okay. It's just that like we're seeing him announce this in a PMI 48.7 environment. You don't know if you can eat tomorrow. Okay. So that's why we don't know the full scope of this. But there is another thing everyone has to know. Okay. So there was one person who said, hey, you got to go all in on this because Hex turned out to be good. Okay. Hex, my friends, did turn out to be good. But by the way, you used Hex turning out good. That's why you went hard in Pulse and PulseX. 4 years later, didn't turn out good, right? So far. But this is where Hex day one adoption amplifier was. It dropped 98%. Okay. So you make your choice, Fred. Because look, also Richard's the type of guy, if not enough people participate, he might just pump it out of spite. Okay? So that's it. If too many people are in, goodbye. If not enough people are in, you're going to get the spiteful pump. Maybe. Okay? But there is like 3 out of 3 times, the best thing to do is not play. The best thing to do, well, because look at the incentives, right? If he's marketing to everyone and everyone has to get the flat price, you are getting every strong, medium, weak hand, random chains, random people out here. They're all coming in to get the flat price. And then they wait. Then they launch it. They have expectations high. And then as it starts going down, they go, wait, this is not what I signed up for. They start selling the bottom. That's where you step in. That has been the formula before, but he's done that 3 times before. Is he going to do that again? I don't know. But if he was not to do that again, what's the opposite of that? Oh, everybody just gets rich from the start and everything goes up. Just think about how that sounds for a second. Now, let's crack on with more news. The US government now holds $20 billion of crypto. So the US government is aligned. Donald Trump, a big part of his wealth is in crypto, friends. A lot of you don't know, friends. I met some friends on the weekend. It's kind of funny. No one even knows. Guys, you know Donald Trump, he used to own a casino in Las Vegas and it still went bankrupt. How do you own a casino? The games are rigged, bro. How did you go bankrupt? The game is literally rigged in your face. Crypto's his chance to make money, though. Okay, I'm just telling you. So it holds a special place. Gosh, man. It's like, oh, gosh, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. Gosh, all right. Trump plans to hand out $2,000 in tariff dividends to everyone. US Treasury A squat percent. Kind of walks back some comments, though, so we'll see. The original plan was the Doge savings We're going to be put somewhere, and then he hands everyone a stimulus. Okay, now, why does Trump want to do that? Because if you, I'll just show you, right? If you go back and look at the PMI, what he wants to do is, okay, look what happened in the zombie virus. The PMI went down to 41. Okay, when they started handing out the money, it was one of the contributing factors to making everyone spend and get that PMI back above 50. Okay, so he's trying to just like see what happened last time. Check this out. Bitcoin's volatility has been getting low for a very, very long time. This is the Bitcoin volatility index. See how this is going down and down and down, and see if it's going lower and lower and lower. That is maturing asset. That is bigger players. They don't come and market buy everything. They DCA buy slowly. This is just what happens over time. Okay, but it's just like the XRP guys. A lot of people who hate altcoins and they're in Bitcoin, okay, they got to experience Bitcoin's giant volatility here. Okay, but what they don't like obviously experience now is this tiny volatility. Why? Because they've already got big bags. But that's why they'll keep saying to you, Bitcoin could flash to $1 million any second now. Okay, and it's like crack. It's literally like crackles. Like you're just getting high off it. But yeah, but you didn't give a crap, bro. You didn't have 800 Bitcoin. You've got like 0.00008, right? So if PMI goes up, volatility in Bitcoin's low, where do you think they're going? You know, they're going altcoins. But I know you can't feed it now because times are tough, but we'll see. Check this out as well, friends. Michael Saylor has hinted at buying more Bitcoin. Remember, friends, Michael Chad Saylor, I think his average price is around 73 to 74,000. Okay, we have MicroStrategy to have 640,000 BTC. You go to bitcointreasuries.net. If you click on it, you'll be able to see he's he's finished. It's game over, guys. They're down to 1.03. The MNAV is down to 1. Gosh. It's happening. It's happening. So the Bitcoin on their balance sheet is it's eventually going to get less price than the actual public market. Okay. A lot of people are bearish for that. They go, oh, bearish. But that's my friends. I have to take the optimistic view, man. Like, because what I'm saying, no one believes what I'm saying. That's why I kind of like have more probability weight to it. It's because I'm like, bro, no one wants Bitcoin. Okay. They want altcoins. Yeah. ZK-Tech, privacy, swaps, stablecoins, all these other things, all altcoins. Okay, they don't want Bitcoin. But no one believes you. Why? Because of recency bias. Okay, because when you look at Bitcoin dominance literally going up only for 3.5 years, no one can believe that this thing is destined for Poopy Town. It's also funny, friends. I mean, like, I'm actually surprised. Look at this, friends. The Bitcoin dominance, look at this. Look at this monthly candle. It's done doji. Wow. Wow. Really good. That's really good, man. Oh, man, it's been quite a long time. Remember, friends, Ben Copeland still thinks this thing's going 80%. He thinks right now we are watching this the big rally up. He's basically saying altcoins are crap. Don't touch them. Don't touch them. I'm right. I'm a genius. Only follow Bitcoin. So, man, that's look. I've seen this in markets all the time, okay? There's a guy, he knows what he's doing. He gets something right. And he gets something right, and he gets something right, and then he gets something right. But then the shift happens. But because there were like 3 fake outs along the way, and they stuck to their guns, all right? When the real shift comes, they also give it a 0 probability of working out. And so they don't capitulate until like that, okay? Friends, you'll see, mark my words, okay? I've seen this thousands of times, okay? And then you're probably wondering, how do these great top callers fall from their grace? Friends, they don't fall from their grace, bro. They just change their words, okay? What they say is they go, hey, if you followed me from the start, I saved you a lot of money. Oh, if you followed me from the start, you didn't get wrecked like that one coin. Okay, that's what they start doing. They start walking back their career. Okay, Crypto did that. Crypto was doing the triangles, okay, in 2021. And like, I think like 4 out of 4 of the triangles would like break up to the upside. And he would like, today for the Bitcoin price. And everyone would just get long and long and long and long. Then what ends up happening is 4 of them failed. Okay. And everyone just kept getting destroyed. Obviously, he's making a lot of money on commission. But instead of him saying, well, that sucks, he didn't say that. Instead, what he what he did is, because I was watching it, friends, because, you know, I'm here every day. Instead, right, what they do is, so we'll talk about 2021, right? Instead of the triangles not working, what he does is he goes, hey, if you followed me all the way from back here, you would be up. That's mark my words, but that's what they all do, dude. That's what they all do. Because they have a reputation to uphold. They're getting money from commissions. They're selling you a service. They're selling you signing up to leverage trading. Buy my VIP course. Buy my indicator. They're selling you something. They're not going to come back and go, damn, I'm shit. No one says that. I say that because I'm not selling you anything. They never say that. Instead, what they say is, well, if you followed me 3 years earlier, you'd still be up. Why don't I talk like that, friends? Why don't I talk like that? Okay, I've got nothing to prove. I get smashed with you. I don't care. Okay, that's also why, friend. That's why a lot of the KOLs, okay, all the scum ones, they don't like me. They don't like me because when they go and click on my profile, they try to find, oh, let me find that one thing I can criticize him for, and they're like, oh, he sells nothing, and they just disappear. See, that's the whole industry, friends. And you know what's actually most sad as well? All of those KOLs, like 90% of their content, it literally just says buying and holding wins long term. Like they say it. And then they go, oh, I'm buying my stuff. Buy my stuff gives you edge. And like, but you, because friends, these people are smart. They know what to say. They know the right answer. Okay. But there's knowing the right answer. And then there's, I want to get money off you. You know what I mean? Check this out. Bitcoin OG whales have dumped a lot more Bitcoin in 2025. All of them have been betting on the 4-year cycle. They sold their Bitcoin to Wall Street, who might keep buying through 2026 to embarrass them. I also want to show you some blockchain backer charts, friends. So blockchain backer, this is Bitcoin dominance, and it has not collapsed. Okay, it's the only thing is like, man, there's a lot of bearish stuff. Everything's bear, but Bitcoin dominance hasn't collapsed. And that's why I'm telling you, bro, I have the answer. I have the answer. Okay. PMI is low. There's only strong hands here. Okay. PMI means everybody's spinning their wheels. It means they're strong hands. There's no emotional weak hand money. So when you're seeing, friends, if you're doing fractals from the past here, okay, is expecting Bitcoin to crash down to 70K. This is the Russell 2000 hanging around its highest fib, which we've been watching as well. And here I am to show you. This is Bitcoin, friends, with this weekly and MACD, like these divergences are like happening, right? So up the top, divergence and divergence, right? But friends, up here, man, okay, up here was PMI 60, okay? Up there was PMI 60, both of them. All right. That is super euphoric. And here we have PMI 49. Okay. See that? So what that means is, look, just conceptually, the people who are buying here, they think the next 1 to 2 years of their lives are going to be absolutely amazing. They are so confident, right? In PMI 49, friends, go check the polls, man. We all think we're dead next year. We think we're finished. Stock market's high. AI bubbles popped. Everything's going trash. Inflation's too high. Rates are never coming down. They're moving too slow. Plan B made a poll. A Bitcoin maxi made a freaking poll. 78% of his audience thinks next year's a bear market. No one's optimistic for the future. So that means anybody buying now, strong hand. That's your whole goal. You want to buy with strong hands. Strong hands are depressed. That's what makes it confusing. Weak hands are super confident. Okay? Got more cracker news here for you as well, friends. Pakistan is weighing a rupee-backed stablecoin to expand financial access. See, friends, at the end of the crypto cycles, you don't see the infrastructure adoption announcements, okay? You see stuff like FTX has now sponsored a stadium. That's what you see, okay? You don't see that, all right? But, you know, I don't know. We could go to zero, whatever. Banks and payment giants are building stablecoin rails, retail coins, tokenized deposits, and settlement tokens. Stablecoin supercycle. Just keep spinning the wheels, man. Same message. Next, nearly half of ETF investors plan to buy a crypto ETF matching bonds at 45% in Schwab's survey. Very important. Friends, I met a good, gentle friend on the weekend. He DCAs. Very smart. 90%, I think, was NASDAQ. 10% he buys IBIT. So the Bitcoin ETF. Now, you got to remember, Donald Trump, they have just allowed the 12.5 trillion of the 401k savings of America to be able to buy crypto. 12.5 trillion. So if just 2% allocate to crypto, that's 250 billion with a B. And because of the multiplier effect, if you add $250 billion in, your market cap increases by 2 trillion. Okay? That's another big boost to the industry. So everyone's unallocated still, and we just need more time. Okay, where to from here? Remember earlier I showed you the Bitcoin 4-hour price action. This is the Ethereum one. See, we dipped under this low and then we've come back in. But to be honest, there's going to be more fuckery up here, friends. But I personally, for Bitcoin, 118,000. For Ethereum, 4,800. Anything under those prices, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. There could be fake outs, fake news, mini euphoria, and everything out here, right? But the weekly chart is still here. And like, just to remind you, friends, the only indicator that has worked that no one else in crypto is ever talking about is the default super trend. That's it. And it's still green. Bitcoin's weekly super trend has never flipped red. It got close here, it got close here, and it did get pretty close here, but we're still green. So I'm going to keep holding. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.